Sugar Bevort, and this is Kitchen Table Productions, a show devoted to low-carb living. I'm back. I know I haven't been around for a while, but as you can see, I'm doing great on my low-carb ketogenic lifestyle. I've moved into more of a ketogenic whole foods approach. I'm eating about 80 to 85% of my calories from great fats like macadamia nut oil, coconut oil, butter, bacon, drippings. Yum. Love cooking my eggs in those. So yeah, a lot of great natural fats, and I've never been healthier. I've never had as much ease keeping my weight down as I am eating this way. And I feel fabulous. I got lots of energy, and it's just great. Now, if you want more information about ketogenic dieting, I highly recommend Jimmy Moore's book, Keto Clarity. You can get it at Amazon, local bookstores, and maybe even your local library. And if they don't have it, they should. So check it out there. Okay, now we're heading into the holidays. And of course, holidays have always been very hard for us low carbers. There's just so much junk, sugary junk around to try to resist. So hopefully I'll give you today a little treat, as it were, that you can use instead of all that junk that's out there. Not only is it low carb, it is in fact ketogenically low carb, so plus to us. All right, I want to show you what it is right now. It is in fact a low carb ketogenic ice cream. And I want to give a shout out here to Gerard Pinzone at gpinzone.blogspot.com. And he came up with the low carb ice cream base that I'm going to use in these ice creams. Of course, I'm making my own flavors, but he's got some great gourmet ice cream flavors over in his site. I definitely recommend you go check those out too. Okay, so the ice cream flavors I'm going to show you today are a cranberry ice cream, which is kind of a cross between an ice cream and a sherbet, if you can imagine that. And then the second ice cream, which I'm going to show you first actually, is a butter pecan ice cream. And this is one of my mom's favorites. So she's going to love this alongside of her pumpkin pie come Thanksgiving in just about a week or so. So let's get started on these. I'll show you how to do them. Oh, one more thing before we get started. Even though I've moved into a more of a whole foods, real food approach to my low carbing, I wanted to point out this recipe doesn't really quite fall into that category. There's a few ingredients that are highly processed, but despite that fact, I think that you'll find certainly eating this is going to be better for you, probably will be better for you, than eating any of that sugary junk around the holidays. So certainly enjoy the ice cream, just don't go overboard. And now the first thing I did was turn on my oven to 350 degrees, and I have here a tablespoon of some nice Kerrygold butter there on my pan, and I'm just going to let it sit there and melt. Alright, it has been a few minutes here, and yes indeed, oh, my butter is all nice and melted. I'm going to add to this 2/3 of a cup of pecans. I just want to mix these up real good. All nice and well coated in the butter. See, nice and well coated. I'm just going to put it in here for 4 minutes. Alright, my pecans are done. Well, they're not done, they're half done. Take them out. Just kind of want to mix them around, shake them up a bit more, get them well coated with that butter. That's some good butter. So I want to get that all over. I'm using salted butter, in case you're wondering, and we're going to add more salt later. Now that that's mixed up, another 4 minutes. But while they're still hot, you want to salt them. Now I'm salting them now very heavily with a very fine grade salt, because you want these pecans in your ice cream to be kind of little salty bombs in between all the sweet. Now we can let those cool off while we start making our ice cream. I'm going to start with the 2 eggs here. They are pasteurized. You want to try to find pasteurized eggs if you can, because we're not cooking these eggs. They're going to be raw eggs. If you're worried about raw eggs, certainly look for the pasteurized eggs. I am not terribly concerned myself. I know I'm the only one going to be eating this ice cream. So if I make myself sick, I've got no one but myself to blame. We're going to start with these 2 eggs here, and we're going to whip them until they are very thick and frothy. On the highest speed possible. Alright, now you can see how much increased in volume 2 eggs has become here. It's gotten quite a bit bigger and frothier. Now, I'm going to start adding in my sweetener. Now, I am using this. This is my one change from what he does on his ice cream base. I'm using Swerve. It's an erythritol oligosaccharide combination. He uses Truvia, which is erythritol and stevia combined. Now, another thing I'm going to do different is this is a 1/4 teaspoon of xanthan gum. He usually adds this later, and he talks about going very slowly with it. I'm going to mix it into my sweetener. This will kind of help break it up, keep it from clumping. It's a stabilizer. And you'll see that when your ice cream melts, it won't quite get all the way liquidy. It'll still be kind of a little thick, but it gives a nice smooth mouthfeel, and it's good stuff. Really great. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of sprinkle this in slowly together. Again, high speed, so it's going as fast as possible. See how that's thickening up even more because of that xanthan gum there. I'm going to add next a nice large pinch of salt. Don't be afraid of the salt. You need the salt. You always need the salt. Now this is our next secret weapon here in making low-carb ice cream. Now the problem with low-carb ice cream is usually when you make it, there's no sugar in it, it freezes up solid as a brick. This stuff is going to be what is going to lower that freezing temperature, keep the whole thing from freezing rock solid. And what it is vegetable glycerin. Now, you got to be careful with glycerins. There are some glycerins out there that are toxic. They're not meant for human consumption. What you want to look for is something that says certified USP, FCC, food grade. Make sure you get that food grade. I find that this is a very good brand. It's also one that Gerard Benzon recommends. And this is a tablespoon of vegetable glycerin. I'm also going to be adding in 21 drops of Ez-Sweetz liquid sucralose. And our final ingredient is going to be our butter pecan flavoring. Now this comes from Loran Oils. They have a whole line of flavorings that are sugar-free, made for ice cream. It has the flavor in there, it has the coloring that you want, but there's no appreciable calories or carbohydrates here. And they have a huge variety of them. You can see some of my favorites are this salted caramel. It's very yummy. And now this is one of my favorites. Unfortunately, it only comes in this enormous size, but it's pumpkin pie. So if you're looking for a good holiday ice cream, this is good. Just add a tablespoon of this to the sweet cream base, and you are so good to go. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to add my liquid sucralose in to my, there you go, into my flavoring. So now it's going to be sweet. And I can tell my sweetness will be evenly distributed because so will the color. Alright, first of all, let's get this going. Tablespoon of glycerin. Go ahead and make sure you scrape up the bottom of this bowl. You want everything nice and even. Now, final and most important, in my opinion, ingredient. Heavy cream, 2 1/4 cups. I said it was yummy. I didn't say it was paleo. Now, I'm not going to actually whip this up. I'm just going to kind of stir it in because this is heavy whipping cream. I'm not going for whipped cream here. I'm going for ice cream. There, now when you get nice and homogeneous like this, you can do one of two things. You can go ahead and throw it in your ice cream maker, or you can let it sit overnight and let all those flavors kind of marry up. Either way, you're going to want this to be cold when it goes into your ice cream maker. So if it isn't already cold for whatever reason, make sure it is. Alright, here's my ice cream maker. My interior here is nice and well frozen. I'm adding the dasher and the cover. Just like that. And, as I say, freeze according to the manufacturer's directions. In this case, I've got everything ready to go. I'm going to start it up, and then I'm going to pour everything in. Okay, now this is almost done. You can see how it's gotten quite a bit bigger. That's because what we're doing, not only are we freezing it, we're whipping air into it. In ice cream terms, it's called overrun. We kind of want to get to that almost frozen spot before we throw in our pecans. I think this is just about it. So I'm going to throw in these pecans. Remember, these are cooled off because we don't want to melt the ice cream we've just frozen. That would make no sense, right? Alright, that's looking good. Now we got to pull it out of there and get it into a storage container. That's good. I want to get this into my freezer to ripen. Okay, now the first step is going to be washing and sorting our cranberries. I've got one plain package of cranberries. I'm sure you've all seen cranberries before. If you have any interest in this. Now I'm going to want to sort these. Now, as you go through these, you'll see some are nice and hard. Those are the ones you want to keep. Good example. It's really soft. It's kind of got a strange brownish spot that shouldn't be there. Cranberries usually are white and then they turn pink. Sometimes you get ones that are almost completely white, but this little weird brown spot, that's not right, and the softness not right. So let's get rid of those. I'm going to add to this 1 cup of water. Right on in, and we're going to move over to the stove. Right, here's my cranberries in their pot with their water over high heat, and we're going to bring it up to a boil. Alright, they're boiling quite a bit now, and they're starting to pop. See how it's kind of, there's that line there, and this one, those have all popped open. Now this is boiling. I'm going to turn the heat down to medium and let this boil, just like this, maybe stirring occasionally, for 10 minutes. Alright. It's been 10 minutes. My cranberries are nice and thick. I'm going to take them off. And while they are still warm, I am going to push this through a sieve. So let's go do that. Alright, here's my bowl and my sieve, a nice fine mesh sieve. I had that bigger one earlier, but the holes are just too big on that one. Let way too much stuff through. And I just kind of press. I want as much of the liquid in the interior pulp, the fine stuff, as I can get out. Okay, as you can see, this is pretty dense now and not a lot of liquid left in it. Mostly, it's just, like I said, seeds and skins. You can scrape it off the bottom because it's very thick. It tends to stick to the bottom of your sieve. Just going to scrape it away. What we're left with is this nice, thick, smooth cranberry gel. It's not sweet. It's going to be very, very tart, but that's not going to matter in a minute. Alright, I've got here our sweet cream base. I made it exactly as I did the last ice cream. The only difference is, because we are not using a flavoring, instead we're going to be using this. This is our cranberry slurry that we made earlier, for lack of a better term. It's not really a slurry. But because it's going to change the ratios of fats to waters and everything, I actually needed to lower the freezing point just a little bit, so I'm adding an extra teaspoon of the vegetable glycerin. So that's the only difference between this base and the last one. So now I'm going to add in, this is 3 tablespoons of the cranberry paste that we made earlier. Scrape my bowl here. I want to make sure I get everything incorporated in there nice and mixed together well. Now that that's all done, again, the same 2 1/4 cups of heavy cream. I'm just going to stir this in. And again, I'm not trying to make whipped cream. I'm trying to make ice cream. There we are. That's looking pretty good. I'm going to call this done. Notice how instead of nice and smooth, it's starting to get kind of lines going through it. Yeah. Really starting to stiffen up well. Now, quick reminder, because it's very important, when you're getting your vegetable glycerin, make sure you get one that's food grade. Okay? Also, don't forget eggs, pasteurized eggs if you can find them. That's the best way to go. Those are the safest. Now, the ice cream, the basic standard ice cream base recipe, makes 24 ounces of ice cream. And I definitely recommend you weigh your ice cream. any additives you might have added in, like in our case, the cranberries and the butter pecans. If you're counting your calories and you're logging things into something like MyFitnessPal, you probably have to log those in separately. But 2 ounces of ice cream looks about like this, and this is in fact exactly 2 ounces, has a 202 calories in it. 3 of those, only 3 believe it or not, are carbohydrate, 2 grams of protein, and the other 20 grams are in fact fat. Yummy, yummy buttercream. So there we go. That's going to be my breakfast this morning. I can't wait to eat it. So we're going to wrap this up now. My name is Jessica Brevort. This has been Kitchen Table Productions. Certainly check out our website for this and many other recipes. kitchentableproductions.net. Great. Happy holidays. We'll see you later and enjoy your ice cream.